July 7, 2005 dawned on a city still elated from winning the 2012 Olympic bid. The short-lived euphoria overshadowed by an act of destruction. Bombers Mohammed Sadiq Khan, Shehzad Tanweer, Hasib Hussain and Jermaine Lindsay made their way from Luton that morning, separating at London's King's Cross. That day setting things in motion for not just their own families and the lives of their 52 victims, but all communities in the UK. Following the attack, the last decade has seen a muscular strategy from the government to prevent terrorism from resurfacing on British shores, with counter-terror policies largely targeting the UK's growing Muslim population. It's less than 2 weeks on from an attack which left 30 Britons dead. An attack which led our Prime Minister David Cameron to saying we must become intolerant of extremist Islam in order to protect the very things we stand for. The 10 years on from an attack which shocked Britain's landscape, what lessons have we learnt in this decade, and have we been moving forwards?
That sad day when so many things happened, so many people lost their lives and in so many different places, it has had an immense impact, not just on myself, families, our friends, but in the country as a whole. Nobody had believed that something like this would happen, and the impact of it, the sheer, completely unbelievable something like this could happen. People who, a barbaric, senseless act, where 52 innocent lives were lost and hundreds injured. There was no cause that can be found, and that is the misinterpretation of the perpetrators, and it's done in the name of Islam.
Well, 10 years ago, I was actually outside Aldgate Station. We weren't allowed in because the explosion had just happened about 10 minutes ago. At the time, I was chairing the Muslim Safety Forum. About half an hour later, I got a call from the police about the incidents that did take place. Went to Scotland Yard, where they actually gave us an office to handle the fallout from the tragedy that just took place. The personal impact on me on that day was huge. You know, I got to see a lot of things that a lot of people didn't see, images and what took place, and got to see the inside of how this has been handled from a policing and a political point of view.
Yes, as a Muslim, after 7/7, things have changed drastically for us. We became sort of suspect of the fifth column. I think the wider society, they have started to look at us as troublemakers, or people who don't belong here, who want to take over our country, and who are a problem for us, basically.
Immediately after 7/7, I remember that Ken Livingstone, who was the mayor at that time, said a very, very important statement.
Those who came here to kill last Thursday had many goals, but one was that we should turn on each other like animals trapped in a cage, and they failed.
He said they want to divide us Muslims and non-Muslims, and I think whoever they, managed to do that. I feel that the society has been divided since 9/11, and in particular after 7/7. Muslims versus non-Muslims. Look at the media, how they deal with Muslim issues. Look at the politicians, how they deal with Muslim issues. And I think we are now a polarized society, and that is very, very dangerous. Polarization in any society is very dangerous. We are living in one country, this is our country, this is our society. We have to be living together peacefully, and not only that, we need to look forward for the betterment of the society. So I think 7/7 had a major impact. On me personally, I've been attacked because I am promoting Orthodox Islam, the mainstream Islam, and I think many people feel that Islam, as it is, the mainstream Islam, is not very welcome in Britain, unfortunately, by some politicians, some media outlets, by some individuals and some groups. Also, we feel, or many young people feel, a bit alienated, and that's why we all need to work hard to bring things together.
the narrative for British Muslims has changed unequivocally. Muslims have come under extreme pressure since 2005 to continuously denounce acts of terror. And I remember when the attacks happened, I was a teenager myself, and bear in mind we were living in a post 9/11 society then, so hostility towards the Muslim community had already been quite pronounced, especially for Muslims in America. And I remember sitting there and thinking to myself, what now for Muslims living in the UK?
That tragic day has affected all of us in so many ways, so profoundly. Personally, I ended up being put on a control order and held under house arrest for 2 years on the basis of secret evidence. It destroyed my family, it destroyed my attempt to get a degree, and all on the basis of secret evidence that was thrown out. There was never any grounds. And this in a country that tells us about freedom. And for me, that was shocking, that not only did we lose those lives on that day in that awful way, we've damaged so much afterwards in our reaction to it.
People who are visibly Muslim, they've been receiving a lot of hatred and attention from the wider society. We received bomb threats, a couple of times. We've also witnessed the rise of far-right groups, and we've witnessed EDL, the English Defence League. They've been organizing demonstrations against Muslims, which is something very new for us because we've never seen this before. We know there are people who are racist, who don't like foreigners in this country, or who are non-white, they don't like them. But targeting Muslims specifically, that was something very worrying for us.
One thing I remember really, really clearly is that day before the Metropolitan Police did their first press briefing, they came to us and asked, this is what we're going to say, is there anything you want to add? And I remember saying to the police, you guys have been saying Muslim terrorists, Islamic terrorists. Can you stop saying that now? Because these terrorists, they don't have any religion. They don't have any community. They don't have any faith. And if you stop using that term, it will help us to deal with terrorists as terrorists. And you know what? That's what they did. Since that day, they've stopped. But unfortunately, 10 years on, now we hear our Prime Minister using those same terminology. And I think we've just gone back, and it's a shame.
No religion perpetuates or recommends terrorism. Terrorism is criminality, and we have to make sure that our young people are prevented from being extremists. Extremism is not something that we would favor.
We've rolled back freedoms, we've rolled back tolerance. We have David Cameron now saying it's not enough that you follow the law, we will still come out and persecute you. And that's exactly what the people who did this act wanted us to become. It's exactly what they were telling us we were. And I feel that in a lot of ways, as a community and as a society, we've sacrificed that to them.
A unified city, but one in complete lockdown. London, after the bombings, came to a standstill. 10 years on, Operation Strong Tower has been testing its reaction to an attack as controversial terror laws are enshrined. A decade on from 7/7, for those who witnessed it and those who came after it, London's community spirit remains unchanged, though intrusive laws and policies following the attack have meant the presumption of innocence has been lost and its value to society now being measured. Yasmin, Khatun, The Report.